This still passes an MOT in England. This is still classed as safe. I'm going to do the back discs and pads on my VW T4. As you can see, the brakes are only acting on about a centre third of them, so I've got new discs. I'm going to swap them out. To tell you whether or not your brakes are working properly, this model has a sensor built into the brake pads, so there's a cable that comes in for that. It also has the handbrake acting through the caliper, so there's a handbrake cable and a hydraulic brake line. The hydraulics come in here and the handbrake cable comes in here. There's a screw here that comes out and that lets you pull off the bracket that holds on the connector, and then the bottom half of the connector that goes to the brakes snaps out of this little clip here and they pull apart. That's it. So I've taken out this screw and that allows the caliper body to rotate a bit. And I've also loosened the two screws that hold on the main body. Just one more on the bottom. Because of the way the brake lines are down here, I can't get the ratchet in on it. So that's the body off. To get the pads out, you rotate that. Quite worn on this side compared to the other, worn wonky. But you see the sensor wire there. What happens is, as the pad wears away, eventually it'll break that sensor wire. That causes the light to come on in the cab. So I've got a brake rewind tool to push back the piston, and it's got these two little dowel pins that sit just in on the piston there. Because this caliper has the handbrake acting on it, there's a mechanism inside that has a screw in it. So you have to screw this one back rather than pushing it straight in. So that's how you bring up the tension on it. Once you've got the tension on it, you put a handle in. You can see this one's a bit bashed up, but it should just screw gently back in. Some people bleed it off as they do this. Every time I've done it, there's always been enough space in the reservoir under the bonnet to accept it. So we're near the end. So once you get to the end like that, in this model, get a vice grips or something, put it on here, and that releases the releases the tool. Judging by how loose it was, I probably could have just done it by hand. That's the brake rewind done. So here's the disc. Get the disc off, put an Allen key into that little slot, and this is the second one I've done in this van. They tend not to be too tight. So take out that little screw. You're not using this disc again. That loosens it. Look at the back. Very little of that face is being acted upon by the brake pads, and they're just digging in. This job really needed to be done. But this still passes an MOT in England. This is still classed as safe. So my next step is to get the angle grinder and completely clean this back to bare metal. Just stick a screwdriver in there to locate it while I'm cleaning it, so that it doesn't spin around. I'm wearing safety glasses. A couple of weeks ago I got a nice piece of metal in my eye. I managed to get it out and it wasn't too bad, but wear your goggles. You can see the rust line about here where the old disc stops. So it's the face here about 1 inch in from the rim and the hub that we're interested in. We want it to be completely completely free of any of the kind of little blistering rusts that were on it. There's a few more here, and there's a bit on there that I'm going to take out. It's worth doing it now, because otherwise you put the hub on, you put the disc on, you have to do it again. So here's my new disc. This is disc and clutch cleaner. Just put that stud back in. We're sure it's all clean, so we'll put our wheel studs back in. I'm putting washers on them because without the wheel on they bite into the shield behind and they won't let the disc rotate. The purpose of doing this is so that we can put the dial gauge on it. So we just want to nip them up. We don't want them completely tight. We just want them so that it makes the two faces accurately. So I'm just cleaning a bit of this dirt away from a bit of metal surface. Got my magnetic dial indicator. I've got the dial indicator set up. I'm just going to rotate this. We're allowed to have 0.1 of a millimeter of run out, so that equates to 10 teeth, 10 of the little indications here on the edge. So we're well within that, and that's worked out much better than the last wheel we did as well. So we're getting about 0.03 of a millimeter there, which is way less than the limit. Got my new pads. So there's the sensor. It goes through there. Now we need to smear a bit of copper grease in the back of these. So, there's my disc back on. It's easier to start by putting in the bottom stud, then the top stud, and then tighten up both of them. So where we put in that screw just for the time being, I'm going to take it out again now, because this holds on the bracket for the cable for the sensor that goes like this. So if it goes like that, then I guess I want this to go through underneath here. You've got the springs from the brake pads acting against you here, so There's a bit of force required to get it in. Line it all up. Once you're in, you're in. It's good, and this is a 13 and a 15 spanner to tighten this up. Use your 15 spanner on here, and your 13 on the back. That's it. Right. And I don't think I loosened the bottom one, but I'll just check it's tight as well. Yes, it's tight. Thanks. Cut. So we've got our new disc fitted, new brake pads fitted. I haven't bleeded the brakes in this one because we haven't opened up any of the bleed nipples or anything like that. I've never found that you've had to, and it's always worked fine for me. I'm going to put the wheel back on, take it off the axle stand, and bring it for a road test. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.